Expiration dates lie to you, but your nose doesn't. Here's the proof in the pudding behind the messy, wasteful lies of food manufacturers. In July 2022, shoppers at Marks & Spencer, Britain's most popular supermarket chain, were told that the grocery store would be unveiling a new food label for 300 different fruits and vegetables. The chain would be removing its Best Before labels and using a special code which staff could use to determine whether items are still considered fresh. The move, M&S Director of Food Technology Andrew Clappin said, was part of the chain's effort to ensure that food doesn't get thrown away prematurely. While this might sound like the starting point for a food poisoning scenario, The Guardian makes the distinction between Best Before and Use By, with Use By being a more serious measure, and one which warns consumers to discard or consume at your own risk. Best Before is meant to tell a consumer when the product is at its best. Far from being an audacious outlier, Marks & Spencer is late to the party, as several big British supermarket chains have already taken the step of removing the dates from the packaging that comes with their products. Getting rid of a Best Before label might seem like a bold move that isn't likely to be copied in the United States, but advocates against food waste say it might be the right thing to do, particularly because there are no national benchmarks over its use. Dana Gunders, executive director at the anti-food waste nonprofit ReFed, told CNN Business, "It is a complete Wild West. Many consumers really believe that they are being told to throw the food out, or that even when they don't make that choice, that they're sort of breaking some rule." Emily Broad-Lieb, director of Harvard Law School's Food and Policy Clinic, tells Vox, "There is a reason manufacturers add a best by date, and that is they want you to eat things when they taste the absolute best. Unfortunately, because there are no standards to decide what those dates might be, the date might be determined by a focus group, or it could be arrived at by sheer guesswork. Whatever that date might be, it has little or nothing to do with how sick you could be if you consume it by a certain time." Anti-food waste advocates have good reason to think Best Before labels have gone past their use-by date. Vox cites statistics by the Harvard Food Law and Policy Clinic saying that a typical American family throws out somewhere between $1,365 and $2,275 worth of food, which altogether adds up to 40% of food grown and/or produced in America. The publication also notes that the practice of tossing food based on a Best Before date is fairly common.
You don't need to throw it out if it's past the date on the label.
But experts point out that throwing out what some may think is bad food actually stems from a lack of understanding just what Best Before means. And in most cases, it does not mean bad after. Worse, Vox also points out that there is an economic reason why teaching people that this is a misconception might not be in the interest of either grocers or food producers. Tamar Adler, author of An Everlasting Meal, Cooking with Economy and Grace, told Vox, "It's in the general interest of anybody trying to sell anything to continue to perpetuate the illusion that our foods are going bad all the time. We could buy half as much food." So what happens if labels are removed? We might find clues back in Britain, where another major supermarket chain, Morrisons, said in January of 2022 that it would get rid of the use-by dates on its store brand milk and would encourage customers to use the sniff test instead.
And if it doesn't pass the smell test, it may be time to throw it out.
But rather than leaving its customers in the dark over its decision, Morrisons explained why it no longer wants its customers to adhere to a Best Before label. The grocer wrote on its blog, "Milk is the third most wasted food and drink product in the UK after potatoes and bread, with around 490 million pints wasted every year. And milk has the largest carbon footprint of these products because its production is so resource intensive."